I got involved in politics in my 30s. I joined together with a group of neighbours actually trying to save a local school playing field. That was the beginning of my involvement. I had a real feeling that the community wasn't being listened to, despite putting forward its views very strongly and articulately and passionately, and that was the beginning of my involvement. I got involved in campaigning. I wrote to local newspapers. I'd previously been involved in politics to the extent of voting every year, every time there was an election, I should say. Sometimes that is every year. But my involvement didn't go much further than those, dinner time chats with family. But being involved in that campaign, feeling that community councils were engaging with the issues that mattered to them, that local people were, it was sort of the beginning of my involvement.
I first got involved in politics in the 80s. At that time, the political climate, you couldn't help but be aware of it. It was during the miners' strikes. It was the Conservatives were in power at that time, and my father was made unemployed along with thousands and thousands of other people. And suddenly I started becoming aware of the impacts of unemployment and the impacts of government policy on families. So at that time, that sparked my interest. Through education, I enjoy education. I've been a teacher for 30 years since then. But at that time, I could see unfairnesses and biases and discrimination, and people of colour, children of colour like myself, I didn't think we were getting a fair crack at the whip. So that was another thing that became an injustice that I wanted to help to correct. So that led me then to unpick who is it that makes the decisions? And when I realised that actually there was these things called local councils with elected councillors and also parliamentarians that made policies, I thought, well, do you know what? I need to be at that top table so that I can influence those policies and those decisions and bring my lived experience to the corridors of influence and power so they can listen to a diversity of voices. And I think that that helps to make better public policy for everybody.
My personal motivation for standing for election was based on my background. I'm the first woman in my family to go into university. My parents were born and brought up in Pakistan. I was brought up in quite a deprived area, so I had to face a lot of barriers and a lot of challenges. I came from a background that was quite a humble background, but Glasgow gave me so much. I went on to university, achieved a PhD, I worked locally, I worked nationally, and I believe that every Glaswegian should have those opportunities.
I really care about my community and I want to make it better. I'm a care experience person, so I've got lived experience and an insight into things that I feel should be changed. But I think, like a lot of people, I was really motivated after the independence referendum. I think there was a real reaching out in terms of how people participated, and some of the political speakers and thinkers and the conversations that we had around politics were ones that I never felt that I could access before. So it was really good just seeing people that looked like me and sounded like me talking about politics in a way that made me feel like I could get more involved.
I've been thinking about it on and off, but I'd got basically as far as I could in my career. I was a senior HR director in oil and gas, and I'd decided that really I needed to get involved if I was going to change things. And the 2014 referendum really for me was the kick up the pants. I couldn't just sit on the couch and watch the UK be broken up. So I decided to get involved. I actually met Ruth Davidson, and Ruth to me was an inspiration. Here was somebody who was a real human being who related to people, and she basically said, if you feel strongly about something, stop shouting at the telly and get involved.
I didn't decide to stand for Parliament as part of any grand plan. I got involved with the Scottish Greens because I'm really passionate about saving our planet and challenging inequality. So I actually volunteered for the party, expecting only ever to do work behind the scenes, organising campaigns, that kind of thing, because my background is in project management, and I knew I had skills that would be useful to the party. It never even occurred to me to stand for election, but the party's very good about encouraging new volunteers to stand, particularly women, and someone suggested that I put my name down as a candidate. I sort of never in my dreams expected to win, but it's been an amazing journey.